Imagine a secret so powerful that it quietly shapes the fate of the entire world. Force so invisible that most people don't even realize it exists. Yet, it has made America both the most dominant country on the planet and a target for nearly every other global power. In this video, we're going to uncover that hidden secret, the silent engine behind America's influence, and explain why some nations are determined to challenge it at every turn. From mysterious financial strategies to technology that controls our daily lives, from cultural dominance to military reach, this secret is far more than just guns and borders. It's a web of power that stretches into every corner of the globe. And while it has given the United States unprecedented advantage for decades, it has also drawn the attention and sometimes the envy of rivals who are quietly plotting to reduce its influence, disrupt its systems, and in some cases, replace it altogether. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll take a deep dive into the layers of this hidden power. We'll explore how the US dollar silently dominates global trade, how technological supremacy gives America leverage no other country enjoys, and how cultural influence shapes minds far beyond its borders. We'll also examine why countries like China, Russia, and Iran see America as an obstacle to their own ambitions, and how their strategies, ranging from cyber attacks to economic maneuvers, designed to chip away at American strength without firing a single shot. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just what makes America powerful, but why that very power has made it the focus of global attention, suspicion, and sometimes outright hostility. What you're about to discover may surprise you, because this is the story of a hidden influence that quietly steers the world, yet rarely makes the headlines till now. When most people think of America's power, they imagine massive military forces, sprawling cities, and technological innovation. But the true reason behind America's dominance isn't just its armies or inventions. It's something far more subtle, more invisible, yet far more effective. At the heart of US influence lies a combination of financial, technological, and cultural forces that few outside the corridors of power fully understand. This is the secret that has allowed the United States to shape the global order for decades while avoiding the direct conflicts that have brought other empires to ruin. The first element of this hidden secret is the dollar. After World War II, the United States positioned its currency as the backbone of international trade. The dollar became the world's reserve currency, meaning nearly every nation needed it to buy and sell goods globally. Today, over 80% of global trade is conducted in dollars, giving the US a silent but unmatched power. It can print money that the rest of the world must accept, while other nations have to earn their currency through trade. This isn't just a financial advantageous, a geopolitical tool. Sanctions, trade pressures, and financial influence all flow from this one fundamental truth. Countries that challenge the U.S. are not just challenging its government, they are challenging the currency that underpins global commerce. Next is military reach. America doesn't just have a strong army. It has an unparalleled ability to project power anywhere in the world. With more than 750 overseas military bases, advanced technology, and aircraft carriers that can appear off any coast within hours, the U.S. can influence events without needing to conquer territory. This reach allows it to secure trade routes, support allies, and respond to global crises in ways no other nation can. While many see this as military might, the real secret lies in the psychological advantage. Countries know that America can intervene almost anywhere, giving Washington leverage in diplomacy and negotiations. Technology is another pillar of this hidden power. Silicon Valley is another pillar of this hidden power. Silicon Valley is not just a hub of innovation. It's the center of global digital infrastructure. Companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon control data, communications, and critical software used worldwide. Satellites, GPS systems, and internet infrastructure are heavily influenced by U.S.-based companies, giving America a quiet but decisive control over the flow of information. Control over technology has become as important as control over armies. It shapes economies, influences governments, and affects how people live their lives, often without them realizing it. Finally, cultural influence completes the picture. American movies, music, and media shape perceptions globally, spreading ideas, values, and lifestyles. This soft power often goes unnoticed, but it's a powerful tool. It creates allies, inspires admiration, and even guides societal trends in other countries. Together, these elements, finance, military reach, technology, and culture, form a hidden network of influence. They are the secret that has made America the most powerful country on earth, while simultaneously making it a target for those who wish to challenge its dominance. Understanding this secret is the first step in unraveling why some nations see the United States not just as a rival, but as a system to disrupt. While America's hidden strengths make it powerful, they also make it a prime target. Across the globe, nations are quietly or sometimes openly challenging U.S. dominance, each for their own reasons. Understanding why countries target America requires looking at the economic, technological, and geopolitical ambitions of nations that see the United States as both a barrier and a rival. Among the most active challengers are China, Russia, and certain Middle Eastern powers, each employing strategies designed to weaken or circumvent American influence. China represents perhaps the most significant long-term challenge to the U.S. Its ambitions stretch far beyond regional dominance. China's rise as an economic superpower has been rapid, but it faces a fundamental challenge. The U.S. dollar dominates international trade. To reduce its dependency, China has been promoting the digital yuan, pushing for alternatives to the dollar in global markets, and building alliances with countries willing to bypass U.S. financial systems. Economically, China sees America's strength as a cage. It has the resources, the population, and the innovation to become the world's leading power. But the dollar and US-controlled trade networks block its full potential. Technology is another battlefield. China is aggressively investing in artificial intelligence, 5G, and semiconductor production, aiming to overtake the U.S. in critical areas that define the 21st century. Every step it takes is a direct challenge to America's dominance. Which is why tension in areas like the South China Sea, Taiwan, and cyber warfare remains high. Russia's motivations are different, but equally strategic. It seeks to weaken Western cohesion, particularly NATO and the European Union, through a combination of cyber attacks, disinformation, and energy politics. Unlike China, Russia does not have the economic leverage to challenge America globally, so it focuses on disruption, creating friction that slows down U.S.-led initiatives and challenges its authority indirectly. From cyber intrusions into government systems to manipulating energy markets and supporting proxy conflicts, Russia's strategy is designed to test America's resilience without provoking a direct military confrontation. In the Middle East, nations like Iran see the U.S. as a major obstacle to their regional influence. America's military presence, combined with its ability to enforce sanctions, limits Iran's ambitions. Oil and energy politics also play a critical role. America's energy independence and strategic alliances reduce the leverage of traditional power players in the region. As a result, Iran, along with some regional actors, engages in asymmetric warfare, including supporting proxy groups, targeting shipping routes, and using cyber tactics, all aimed at undermining U.S. influence without inviting full-scale war. Smaller nations also target America for more practical reasons. Many countries are frustrated with perceived overreach in global politics, interference in domestic affairs, or economic pressures like sanctions. Others see opportunity in aligning with alternative powers, such as China or Russia, to bypass U.S. control and gain financial or technological advantages. Even if these nations cannot match America's power directly, their combined actions, cyber or diplomatic, chip away at the influence the United States has worked decades to build. Ultimately, the reason so many countries target America is simple. It holds resources, systems, and influence that define the modern world. The U.S. is not just a rival. It is the framework that underpins the current global order. Four countries seeking to secure their own power, circumventing, challenging, or reshaping that framework is both a necessity and a priority. In the next part, we'll explore the modern battles taking place right now, battles fought not with tanks or bombs, but with cyber attacks, economic warfare, and information campaigns that are invisible to most of the world, yet incredibly impactful. While history books often focus on wars fought with armies, tanks, and planes, the battles shaping the modern world are far more subtle and far more dangerous. Today, the conflicts targeting America are mostly silent, invisible to the average person. Yet they have the potential to disrupt economies, weaken global influence, and even alter the balance of power. These battles are fought in cyberspace, on trading floors, through information networks, and with technologies that give some nations leverage over others without ever firing a single shot. Cyber warfare has become the most prominent front. Nation-states around the world are constantly probing America's digital infrastructure, testing its defenses and attempting to exploit vulnerabilities. From targeting government agencies to financial institutions, power grids, and communication networks, cyber attacks can destabilize entire systems without traditional combat. Unlike wars of the past, these attacks often leave no visible damage but can cripple essential services, disrupt economies, and create panic. Hackers, backed by foreign governments, have repeatedly infiltrated sensitive systems, demonstrating that control over data and networks is as critical today as control over territory once was. Economic and trade warfare represents another silent battlefield. Countries like China, Russia, and members of BRICS are increasingly challenging the dominance of the US dollar, looking for ways to bypass American sanctions and financial controls. They are creating alternative trade systems, establishing regional currencies, and exploring digital solutions to reduce dependence on US lead networks. By weakening the dollar's global dominance, these nations aim to erode one of America's most powerful tools of influence, its ability to enforce economic rules across the world. Trade restrictions, tariffs, and sanctions are no longer just tools the US uses. They are now instruments that rival powers attempt to evade or counteract to weaken American leverage. Information warfare is equally powerful. Social media platforms, online news outlets, and content-sharing apps have become new battlegrounds. Disinformation campaigns, fake news, and propaganda are being deployed to influence public opinion, create political division, and undermine trust in institutions. From election interference to shaping perceptions of US foreign policy, the spread of targeted narratives can have consequences as serious as any military engagement. Control over information has become a critical element of global strategy. And it's a battlefield where America faces increasingly sophisticated adversaries. Even traditional military confrontations have taken on a new, silent dimension. While large-scale wars are rare, provocations and shows of force are constant. Chinese naval maneuvers in the South China Sea, Russian aircraft near NATO borders, and Iranian-backed activities in strategic regions all serve as reminders that military threats are still present, but now they are part of a larger strategy designed to test American responses and influence global perception without triggering full-scale conflict. The combination of cyber attacks, economic maneuvers, information warfare, and strategic military posturing represents a new kind of global conflict. These battles are harder to detect, harder to counter, and harder to measure in traditional terms. But they are just as consequential as any past war. They reveal a world in which power is no longer solely defined by armies and weapons, but by information, finance, and technology. Understanding these silent battles is essential to seeing why America, despite its enormous strengths, remains a target. Its hidden advantages make it powerful, but they also make it a focal point in a complex, evolving, and invisible struggle for global dominance. America's hidden powers, its financial dominance, technological control, military reach, and cultural influence have allowed it to shape the world quietly, yet decisively. But what happens if these advantages begin to erode? The consequences would ripple across the globe, affecting not just governments and economies, but everyday lives. A weakening of the dollar's dominance, for instance, would shake international trade, destabilize financial markets, and make goods and services more expensive worldwide. Nations that once relied on American stability might seek alternative alliances, creating a more fragmented and unpredictable global system. Technology, too, is a double-edged sword. If rivals overtake U.S. dominance in AI, semiconductors, or satellite systems, the strategic balance could shift dramatically. Suddenly, America's ability to influence global communication, commerce, and defense would be challenged. And countries that once depended on its systems could gain leverage over it. Even cultural influence, while less tangible, plays a role. The perception of American leadership shapes alliances, global norms, and international trust. A decline in this soft power could embolden rivals and weaken America's diplomatic position. Yet, America is not passive. Efforts to maintain its edge are underway, investing in cutting-edge technology, strengthening alliances, securing trade advantages, and modernizing its military presence. The struggle between maintaining dominance and facing rising challengers is the invisible story of our time of battle, fought not just on borders, but in currencies, digital networks, and influence campaigns. The question remains, is America's decline inevitable, or can it adapt and maintain its position in a rapidly changing world? The answer will shape the global order for decades to come. For now, one thing is clear. The world's most powerful nation faces silent battles on multiple fronts, and the outcome is far from guaranteed. Understanding this hidden struggle is key to understanding not just America's present, but the future of global power itself. The story of America's hidden secret is a story of unseen power, financial, technological, military, and cultural, that has shaped the world for decades. But with great power comes great attention. And that is why so many nations are quietly challenging, testing, and sometimes undermining it. From cyber attacks to economic maneuvers, from information campaigns to strategic military posturing, the battles America faces today are often invisible, yet they carry consequences just as serious as any conventional war. What happens next depends on the nation's ability to adapt, innovate, and maintain its advantages while facing increasingly sophisticated rivals. The rise of new powers, the shifting global order, and the silent conflicts unfolding across digital, financial, and political landscapes will determine the future of global influence. One thing is clear: America's hidden secret has made it powerful, but it has also made it a target. Understanding this struggle is key to understanding the world today, the challenges that lie ahead.